Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast. My name is Joseph Sangle, and I am fired up to bring you episode number
99.
Episode number 99, one away from a century mark. And we're super excited about that episode. We're going to do some reflecting on the 100 or the 99 previous episodes. It's going to be awesome. And of course, the Monday Money Tip Podcast is presented by the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not team, and it's committed to helping you live a fully funded life. We're fired up. It's the end of May, wrapping up May. It's unbelievable. What an amazing spring. The spring that never was for a lot of people. It's kind of a weird thing that we've went through here. And so we're going to talk about an awesome topic that maybe has come up and is a lot more relevant than it has been other times, since we've been doing a lot of coexisting, close coexisting for a lot of people. Tell everybody what the topic is this week.
Yes. So today we're talking about fair money fights. So our question for today is, my spouse and I keep having fights about money.
Is this a fight at the fair? Like the county fair?
Probably.
Is that what you're talking about?
If you've been to a fair, you know you've seen a fight at a fair. It is unfair. My spouse and I keep having fights about money that seem to always end up with us mad at each other. I know that many people have the same issue. Can you help us learn how to have conversations about money that are productive instead of combative, or just end up in arguments?
We got some work to do on this one.
Yep.
This is going to be a challenging one. So Megan and I will do our best. We will say we are not relationship experts, but we'll give it our dead level best as it relates to money. And if it happens to have carryover effects to the rest of your life, that is wonderful. We do want you to know this is a money podcast. We're not licensed therapists. Although when you fix money problems, it does fix a lot of other issues.
Yeah. And we are both still married.
Yes.
We both have conversations with our spouses about money.
Yes.
Sometimes successful.
And how long have you been married, you and Jordan now?
October will be 5 years.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
And in just the next month, it's going to be 23 years for Jen and I. So that's good.
Man, I remember when you went on your 20th year trip.
That was right at the start of this podcast.
Yeah.
So fired up. Can't wait to be able to talk about that. We do have a featured resource that we've been telling you about all month long. Tell everybody what that is one more time.
Yes, our featured resource for this month is your book, I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. So we're in a crazy unknown season right now, and this book provides extremely helpful and practical steps for your money journey. Whether you're looking for help preparing a budget, calculating your debt freedom date, or the amount of money needed for retirement, capturing the power of compound interest, investing, or insurance, there's something for everybody. So just visit iwasbrokenowimnot.com/help for 25% off plus free shipping in the U.S.
Awesome. And we hope you'll pick that up. It is amazing how those timeless truths and powerful principles about managing your money, man, it's always great, but it's in moments like this that I can't tell you the number of people have said, hey, I'm so glad we met you. We ran across your stuff, whatever it is, so many years ago, because we can't imagine facing this with the mountain of debt that we used to have, and now we're debt-free. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about this next section. You guys all know it's my favorite section. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is sponsored by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. Take your finances to the next level by utilizing their financial tools and calculators. Visit iwbnin.com and click on Tools, Budgeting Templates, Debt Freedom Date Calculators, Retirement Calculators, Investment Calculators. They're all right there at your fingertips, and they're all free.
It's awesome. And for this current money event section, get fired up. I want to talk about regrets. If you're watching on YouTube, I am not regretting how my hair is combed. I have the coronavirus hair, which means it has not been cut in a very long time. And let me tell you, it is glazed, and it is a thing of beauty.
It is
glazed. I've got ducktails. I've got feathering. It is, the 80s is back, man. It is unbelievable. Pretty soon, I will have a mullet, and it will be awesome. My life will be complete. It's one thing I have not had. And so I want to, since we're talking about regrets, I am observing that a lot of people are saying they regret certain money decisions they've made, decisions they would have never made had they known a pandemic was coming, unlike anything we've experienced before in our lifetime. In fact, they're saying, I wish I had saved more money. I wish I hadn't signed up for that debt. I wish I hadn't bought that item. I wish all this stuff, right? So here's what I know. You can't really prepare for pandemics. You can't prepare for famines, war, natural disasters. All you can do is live these principles and then make moves when life does happen. Of course, you should have saved more money. Of course, you should have had money set aside to invest in a massive down market. Of course, you should have budgeted more stringently over the past months and years. But you can't go back. We would all go back and change something, right?
It's true.
Like, for real. Like, I would go back when I was a kid at the Indianapolis International Airport and my brand new Velcro wallet with $38 in it. I was wealthy beyond measure as a little kiddo. And I would not have set that on top of the newspaper stand while I had some coins to get a paper out to give to my brother and walk away, leaving that wallet on top of it.
Wow.
And I discovered it like 15 minutes later, and I raced back and I found the wallet.
All the money was gone.
The money was gone. See, I'd go back and do that. And listen, I've had things I've lost thousands of dollars on, and nothing hurt so bad as going totally bankrupt at like 8 years old. And so, look, you can't go back. You can just learn from it. You can, hear me, podcast listener, we love you. You can't go back. So we're talking about regrets in this right now relevant current money events section. You can't go back. So if you're in the regretful and regret-filled category, I urge you today, at the moment, you're driving down the road, just breathe and let it go. Of course, learn from the feelings, implement changes so you'll be able to navigate the next major challenge, and there will be another one so that you can navigate it better and then move forward. Trust me, better days, dare I say, the best days are just ahead. And that's it for today's current money events section.
That's good. Okay, our success story today comes from JoAnn, and JoAnn said, "Thank you very much. I have 10 grandchildren. Congratulations. And I have given the first 5 of them this book." She's referring to the book that you wrote. We had it as our feature resource last month, so it's What Everyone Should Know About Money Before They Enter the Real World. Long title.
One of the world's longest titles of a book.
It is. We have shortened it to WESCAM, also known as a acronym. Sorry, acronym.
I love acronyms.
Yes, you do. So when they graduated high school, they have read the book, and then they have to take my test exactly from the book. And afterwards, they receive a monetary gift. That is brilliant.
Yes.
Can I say so? So these books are for the other grandchildren who graduate this year and through 2024. So it's definitely a great teaching tool. That's from JoAnn.
We should ask JoAnn what the test is.
She should give us the test.
We should ask her for the test.
Offer it as a gift.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay. We could send it with the book. That's good. And if we get that, and if we reach out to JoAnn and we get that, let's make sure we share it with the listeners. That'll be awesome. I love it, JoAnn. That's awesome. What that is setting up for generational wealth to really help not only give a gift of money, but the gift of knowing what to do with it in a way that maximizes their plans, hopes, and dreams.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if you want to do that, you can pick up a copy of your book, WESCAM, What Everyone Should Know About Money Before They Enter the Real World.
Just visit the website, iwasbrokenowimnot.com.
And I'll include a link in the show notes just for you.
All right. So now we get to talk about the whole focus of this episode, number 99, 1 before 100. Tell everybody again what the question or the comment was.
Yes. So today we're talking about fair money fights, or how to go to the fair. And
not at the carnival.
And nobody,
just to be clear.
Right now, nobody is at a carnival.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's kind of sad. But
or on a carnival cruise, or there's no carnivals happening.
I'm a carnival stockholder, just for a side note.
How's that going?
There's a leak in the boat, baby.
Okay. The question is, my spouse and I keep having fights about money that seem to always end up with us mad at each other. I know that many people have the same issue. Can you help us learn from and to have conversations about money that are productive instead of combative, or just end up in arguments? Awesome. Yes.
I came up with a pretty good joke there.
That was.
I have a sinking feeling.
I have Titanic playing in my head.
Yikes. Okay, well, yeah, absolutely. We're going to help you be able to fight fair. We know those good, outrageous fights that we have about you spent money on what? You know, when you first get married and you find out how much your bride spends on a haircut, it's a little bit more than what a normal haircut costs. And if you don't get a haircut, like I have not, it's awesome. But here's what I know. Money is the number one cause of marital disharmony, discord, and divorce. And we also know it is one of the greatest impediments to being able to truly connect about and be on the same page about. So we're going to try to give you some helpful tips. And if you have some helpful tips, we'd love it if you'd share them. You know, if you're watching on the YouTube video underneath there, or if you hate what we say, hey, that's great. Just as long as you give us a like, it'll be great, or dislike. So here's number one. I think it's important for you to set rules. All right. Here's some rules that Jen and I have, and then Megan's going to chip in with her thoughts. But one of the rules that we have is if we're going to have a conversation, a fervent, urgent, focused, intense
fellowship is what we call it.
You call it intense fellowship? That's excellent. Here's the rule. If you have kids, they can't be present. If you're getting ready to talk about money, which is already stressful, adding in the mix kids who are coming and complaining about something you're saying. I'll never forget once my son, some of you have heard about my son. My son breaks everything. He's very talented at it. He doesn't even know it. He's so sweet, but he just breaks things. He's a giant kid. When he was born, he had like puppy paws, like huge, like the doctor's like, this kid is going to be a big kid. And he is going to be a very big kid. They think 6'5" to 6'7".
Oh, wow.
It's unbelievable. But anyhow, he just breaks things. He can't help it. And one day he had broke like the 15th thing that day. And my bride, Jen, was so frustrated and she was like yelling at him. And he, in the middle of her like intense, focused yelling at him, he stops and looks at her and says, "Are you mad?" Oh. She's like, "Yes, I'm mad. What vein in my head popping out didn't tell you I'm mad?" But it's pretty hilarious. So you don't want to mix up kids with this conversation. It's not good. And another rule we have is not to fight when we're tired. Now, many of us do feel like mufflers in a car. We are continually exhausted. Like that? But there's nothing like being exhausted and stoking the anger fires with serious money talks. So set some rules. Have the conversation when you're rested. Maybe this is earlier morning. Maybe this is when the kids are off the bed and you've been able to nap that day. But you definitely, if you mix exhaustion and kids into this conversation, you mix that up in the pot, you're not going to have a productive conversation about money, and it will probably descend into chaos or intense fellowship, as you described it. Do you guys have some rules about money talks?
Yeah, our biggest one, I mean, it's kind of similar, but it's know your timing. So know when is the right time to talk about something. So when I'm tired, when I've had a stressful day with Logan, when, Jordan's had a lot going on at work, it almost can come across as like, I think the thing to like watch out for this is it can almost come across as there's never a time. And I think that's like one thing I would like caution you against is like, okay, well, I'm always tired, or the kids are always around, or after we put them down, we're just exhausted, which I totally understand. But it's
absolutely.
But it's still, maybe do you have a close friend that can watch them for a few hours when you can go out? Do you have a grandparent that can come take the kids and you guys can go out to dinner, or maybe even get away for a weekend when you can talk about it? Like when you have this, when you create this space about, just you guys are there, you're able to like breathe for a minute, you're able to dream together, talk about money, have some hard conversations, have some fun conversations. I feel like it's so much better and it brings you so much closer together. And so I feel like for us, the biggest thing is like knowing the timing. So not just when we're tired, but also like when I'm rushing around trying to do things, Jordan's learned like, okay, it's not the best time to talk about something, or like he's gotten really good at knowing like, okay, this is my moment. We should talk about this.
Yeah.
But like, that's not it. So let's not talk about it then because we've like learned.
Yeah, so I think that's really good is just set a rule of knowing when to talk about it and when not to talk about it. But I love what you just said. You can't use continual exhaustion, which any parent can identify with, as the reason to never have the conversation.
Yeah.
You got to have the conversation, and that's why it's so important to set some rules. And these rules can be talked about, and some of them are ones you learn, and they're kind of unspoken, but it's what works for you guys, and so that's really important. And so set some rules. The second thing that we felt like would really help you is to prepare a monthly budget every month. Every single month. It is called a monthly budget, which means you should probably do that every month. I know some people put together a monthly budget and then don't look at it again for a year. Well, that probably was an annual budget. So you want a monthly budget that you prepare every month. And the reason I like this and what it's done for Jen and I is it creates a rhythm of having a conversation about money on a monthly basis. Surprise, surprise. And it is essential to what I call relieve pressure along the way, so it doesn't have a chance to build up over time. It allows you every single month to have that moment to say, how did you spend money on that? Now, where was that in the budget? What did that come out of? You used the credit card for that, but was that approved? Like, did you take money from the cash envelope when you bought that on Amazon so that it goes back to the bank? Or did we just spend more money than we planned? So it allows you to have those conversations to say, how do we fix this?
Yeah.
And life changes. What you spend money on changes. It changes from month to month and within the month. But that monthly budget, having that as your rhythm, allows you to have this thing where you can say, you know what? I know I need to have a conversation about this. Rather than create some special vacuum of time to have that conversation, I'm just going to do it during the monthly budget session.
Yeah. And I would say, I mean, you mentioned this, but each month the expenses that you're having are different. So one month you could have 3 birthdays, and the next month you could have no birthdays, or, you know, you could have an HOA fee due, or, you know, and different things like that.
Or Christmas or summer vacation.
Yeah, it's like everything is different. And so you might know in your head, Valentine's Day is in February, and I'm going to spend a little bit more money on it. But if it's not in the budget, then you either overspend or you don't get anything.
And you guys got a boat. You guys have a boat.
And we have a boat, yes.
So boat fuel a lot of times costs different, and the additives and all that stuff is different. So that's a budget line item. But you're going to use the boat more in the summer than in the winter. And I have 4-wheelers. We use them more in the summer than in the winter. Those things, there's rhythm. I deer hunt, which happens in the fall. So I use more gasoline, I guess, running back and forth to my farm, that sort of stuff. So it's just rhythm. There's different rhythms. You buy back to school clothing, all these different things, there's rhythms. And that monthly rhythm, your bills are on a monthly rhythm, have a monthly budget meeting. It allows you to have an effective conversation. We really encourage you to do that. The third thing is to know each other's PhDs, the plans, hopes, and dreams. You got to know each other's plans, hopes, and dreams, their PhDs. And I like it. I'm trying to work on this. I'm noodling on it. Maybe I'll do it out loud. But when you know your spouse's PhDs, you'll have a doctorate in your spouse.
It's good.
It fell as flat as I thought it would. That's awesome. But as PhD, you're a doctorate in their plans. I don't know. I'm still working on it. If you guys have some ideas on it, it's a little weird, a little awkward. Hey, I like that. You surely have shared dreams, no doubt about it. However, you also just as assuredly have individual goals. And sometimes only one of those can win. How do you deal with that? I wanted a puppy. I had kids when I was I had puppy when I was a kid. I had more than one puppy usually. I get married. My wife's dream was to never have a puppy. She had terrible puppies that bit her legs all the time, and she just didn't like them. They yap, they're ankle biters, all this stuff, not trained very well, I guess. I don't know. But she had bad experiences with dogs. I had great experiences with dogs. I want a dog. She does not want a dog. Who wins? Okay? And vice versa.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins. So, and she wanted this hole in the ground. She wanted to dig a hole in the ground, literally, and spend a lot of money doing it. It's called a swimming pool.
It's awesome.
And do you agree with her? I thought it was an awesome, colossal waste of money. So you can either have a pool or not have a pool. I did buy a $7 plastic pool at Walmart on clearance, and my kids loved it. And I thought, that was great. I have a pool. She did not see the humor. But here's what I know. What do you do when only one can win? And I think that this becomes a conversation about how do you have a good decision. And so you have to figure out what's right for you. So for us, we kind of did this thing that said, hey, you've always wanted a pool. I've always wanted a puppy. So if you get the pool, I'm going to get the puppy.
Exchange.
So we did that. And then she forgot that I get the puppy part. And the pool was there, but I got the puppy, and we had to figure it out. But now I think she almost likes the puppy.
Oh, wow. Big steps.
Now the puppy is not an indoor puppy anymore.
Oh.
She's a nice outdoor puppy who gets played with all day long with our kids, especially with the pandemic. I mean, the kids have been playing with the dog nonstop. And she's fit and runs around and is such a happy puppy on our farm. You know, she gets to live on a farm, so she has a great life. And she has neighbor puppies that are her grandma and her uncle puppy.
Oh.
So they run around the golden retriever posse. But here's what I know. I think it's important that you understand each other's plans, hopes, and dreams, and you work towards funding your shared ones, and then maybe alternate back and forth. That's what's worked for the single family. What about the Hibbard family?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Talking about it is definitely the biggest thing. My husband is a huge dreamer. He loves to dream. He can come up with 100 ideas as we're sitting in the backyard about what we should do with our house, what we should do with this, what we should do with that. We could go on this trip. We could go here. And so I've had to learn to like, I'm not very good at dreaming. I need to get better at it. And so like that's been really great for us. But we've had to learn, okay, let's talk about them. Let's figure out which one of these kind of fit with our family and which ones can work. And, you know, we both wanted the 4Runner and we got that. And that was a great dream. And he gave up so I could drive the 4Runner, which is awesome. So I get the 4Runner most of the time. And then a big thing for him was the boat. And I wasn't necessarily on board with that to begin with.
On board, I get it.
On board. I did that unintentionally, but I'm glad it worked out. Yeah. But after talking about it and understanding like his dream as a little boy of having a boat and like the memories his family made, you know, talking about it got me excited. And I was like, oh, and then now we go out and it's so fun and I love it. And so it's definitely a mixture of like us going back and forth, but really like us just talking about like, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how it's going to work.
So I think that's really important. I talked about a puppy for 10 years before we got a puppy.
Yeah.
So my bride talked about a pool for at least that long as well. And so I think that that's something that's very important is when you know each other's plans, hopes, and dreams, it allows the spouse who may not be on board with it or does not have that same shared dream to really understand why that has a connection to your heart. And then they understand that while they're having something happen that they're not into, they'll make the sacrifice because they're into their spouse and they want their spouse to be able to enjoy that thing.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to know each other's plans, hopes, and dreams and the why behind the what of what they're wanting.
And talking about timing of things. And so that's a big thing for us of talking about dreams, but then saying like, hey, we know this dream can't happen now. Like, let's put a time frame on it. So you know what you're going towards. You know your goal. You know, like, I might know, okay, this can't happen this year, but like next year, this dream of mine could happen. Yeah. You know, like.
That helps you stick to the day-to-day financial decisions. It's awesome. The fourth one is recognize that your spouse is fallible, and so are you. I really believe, Megan, that the reason we get so frustrated with our spouse, especially when it comes to money stuff, is we expect them to be perfect. Yeah. Like we would never say that out loud, but the way we react tells us that we are shocked and stunned that they made a bad money decision, that they just, like, for real. And so here's the fact. I'm going to clear the air. So podcast listener, just maybe take notes here. Your spouse will make money decisions. Number two, you will make money mistakes. And so here's what I will say, and I say this in every wedding I've ever performed. Rush to forgiveness and let the mistakes die. And we will make multiple mistakes in our lifetime. The last one is not our last one. It's just the most recent one. And just recognize they're fallible and be okay with that. We are human beings. You are fallible. Your spouse is fallible. Run to forgiveness. Just be so kind. We've all made dumb money decisions. Yeah. You?
Yes.
I bought a BlackBerry Curve 2. Remember when the new one came out with the optical mouse?
Oh, gosh.
Didn't have the trackball? This is when the iPhone was out. I bought another BlackBerry. That's a terrible decision. Terrible money decision.
I feel like
I don't know if I've forgiven myself.
That whole section I feel like is good for not only money, but just in general.
Yeah, there you go.
Tuck that away.
So as we wrap up the podcast today, I want to share some quick tips with you.
Yes.
Okay? So all of our podcast listeners, these are just quick ones. So write before you speak. The act of writing down your issues and grievances and dreams will bring clarity to you, which in turn will allow you to communicate more clearly with your spouse. I love writing it down. If you're frustrated about something, take some time to write it down. And make sure you don't forget something important you wanted to say. Look, if you're going to wade into the conversation, go loaded for bear. Yeah. You don't want to show up and then forget to say something when the moment passes. Number 2, sleep on it. You will be rested, and many times you will gain a new perspective, and you'll realize what was making you mad yesterday was just something else was causing you to be mad about that. Yeah. And you'll find out it was just a symptom, not the real root cause. Right. Okay? Number 3, it isn't about determining a winner or a loser. Let your focus on making the best decision for you and your family. And that's really important.
Yeah. If you're focused on, I want to win, then you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You know?
And so let me give the back end to this as we wrap this episode up, is we got the puppy. I got the puppy. I brought the puppy home. The kids love the puppy. They roll around the grass nonstop with her. They play with her nonstop. And when we go to the farm, they want the puppy. Everywhere we go, they want the puppy to go. They love their puppy. The puppy loves them. My wife, I think she's starting to love the puppy. And I love the pool. I spent more time in the pool last year in our first year of having it than my wife did. And, of course, the kids love it. So that I think is kind of a good bow tie summary on this episode to say, when you have the conversations about it, and you go have the necessary, firm, intense fellowships, as you describe it.
Yes.
At the end of the day, when the decision is made, I don't think you'll have a whole lot of negative regret. So hopefully that will help all of you be able to have better and more fair money conversations or intense fellowships or fights.
You pick. All right. Our quote for today is, there's never a reason to fight about money. Money can always be made, but hurtful words can never be taken back. That's good.
It is so good. I found that. And it is true. There's never a reason to fight about the money. Money can always be made, but hurtful words can never be taken back. And so notice here, we never said one of the tips is to fight and hurl insults to each other.
Yeah.
It's never productive, and you can't unsay it.
Yep.
So tell everybody where we're headed with next episode.
Yes. So our next episode is our 100th episode. Woohoo! If you can believe it. Crazy. So we're going to be celebrating some special stories and behind the scenes stuff here on the Monday Money Tip podcast. And we hope you'll make plans to listen and watch on YouTube as we celebrate this century mark.
That's awesome. Super excited about that. If you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast so other people will benefit. If you're watching on YouTube, click the little bell. You'll be notified every time a new video is posted every Monday. And hit the like button. Share your comments. If you're clicking on it on Facebook, we encourage you, will you take a quick minute and share it with those that you love? We want to help as many people as possible live a fully funded life. And so until next time, this week, think about how you can fight fair about money. And we'll see you next Monday. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.